Welcome to the Nerdtier podcast, where you can be nerdy and not be ashamed about it. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Brian.
Excellent.
And we are the Book Boys. I'm going to get that to stick.
That's not going to happen. Why wouldn't we just name it the Book Boys? I think that was a suggestion.
Then that would mean I know we've only talked about books so far, but that would make this podcast only about books.
I mean...
And we are so much more. We could be the Game Bros as well. We could be
Bros. I'm sure there's a Game
the
Bros.
Movie Punks. Like, I don't know.
I had a friend, whenever I did a podcast before, they're like a sister podcast to us. Like, we just, or brother, I don't know.
I don't recognize them.
They were the bad movie fiends, and they would just watch really bad movies and then just play it. It was really funny.
Okay.
I don't know if they still, I don't know if they still do anything. It was really fun.
Did they watch Velocipaster?
I don't know. I haven't checked them out in a very long time, but I'm going to have to now. So welcome to us discussing other podcasts and entertainment. Welcome to the Nerdtier. So I need you to do me a favor and like and subscribe on YouTube. Comment.
Tell us what you want us to read, review, play, talk about.
That'd be dope. Patreon. We have a Patreon account now.
Money, please.
We need to, I don't know if you guys can really tell it, but we are on the tiniest little table, and my fat body literally has to lean into a bookshelf to fit in here.
And for only 20 cents a day, you can help give us new toys to play
I know,
with.
Exactly. I want to be able to have this, like, cool, and I can, like, you say it into the mic and move it over and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a dream of mine.
We'll
Basically, my Rush Limbaugh dream.
Oh.
Where I have an Oxycontin problem and get paid lots of money. Anyway, anyways, make sure you review us on Apple Podcasts. So today's episode. So 2 weeks ago, we chose a book. Oh, and join the Discord. We're halfway through it at this point. I don't know when this is going up, but that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Halfway through Way of Kings, I decided to wear the same shirt again, and I'm lying.
We only have one pair of clothes. Patreon again.
We recorded 2 episodes in the same day.
Yeah, saving some time.
So my okay, I'm not gonna lie anymore, guys. I finished Way of Kings. On October 1st. But let's discuss it. I want to discuss with people in our community about it.
On Discord, but not today.
On Discord. Not today on the podcast. I'm sure we'll actually do a review. That'd be fun.
I would love to.
That'd be fun. I'm just waiting on you to actually read it.
Well, if you wouldn't be a slave driver and get me to read like all these other books.
Well, sorry. Educate yourself, fool. Yeah, that's it. Join us on the Discord. Will be in the comments below, or in the description below. So, give us a little rundown of what we're doing.
So today we're going to be talking about the Poppy War. This is a really, really fun book that I really, really enjoyed. So I'm glad we get to talk about it today. But basically, the Poppy War is the story of Rin, who is a war orphan, in a country that has already gone through 2 Poppy Wars. They're kind of like recovering and building.
What are Poppy Wars?
I don't want to give out spoilies, so
just wars.
They already had 2 of them, though.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. Okay. Damn it. So, yeah, anyway, she's this orphan, and she's, been assigned to, like, kind of like Harry Potter-esque, where she has these foster parents that are terrible and basically use her as slave labor and are going to end up trading her off to a marriage that she doesn't want to be in, so they have some more, they get a better life for themselves out of it. And instead, she goes on a journey to basically school herself and go to this like super fancy school. It's like the best one in the country, and it's just a lot of fun. So basically, that's it. Yeah.
And this is why I write things down.
Yeah, hey, off the dome. That's what I do.
Okay, so, and who wrote the book?
Don't make me pronounce it. R.F. Kuang.
Kuang?
R.F. Kuang. She was 20 when she wrote this.
She was 20.
Which is like, what am I doing with my life? I'm 34.
I know.
And yeah. I like to read.
A dope-ass podcast.
That's true. That's true.
So, and this is the first book of a trilogy.
Yes. The third book comes out November-ish.
Or December. I don't remember. I think it's the same day as Brandon Sanderson's book. That we couldn't.
That's
come
poor
up with
planning on their part. Even though I love it, that's poor planning.
That is poor planning.
I'll just. There we go.
So, I don't. We always have a weird transition period of where we talk about it, and like, I always feel like there needs to be a step between before we start discussing like what are why you should read or why you should pass. But I don't know what goes in there. So why should you read it?
So, again. This is going back to our Black Leopard Red Wolf review. It is not set in the traditional like European fantasy. It's like I said, in China, so there's more history on China in there that we don't often hear about here in the States. So again, if you're looking for fantasy but you want something outside the normal, this book does it well. Where I really enjoyed it, and Black Leopard Red Wolf did it in a way that I hated it and hated my life when I read it. What about you?
I'll jump onto your world building. I mean, it is now. Let me actually. I'm gonna preface this before I say any negative reviews of this book. The way we read it is my least ideal way of reading a book. It was very slow, and it was.
How long did it take us to read it in the book club?
Month and a half.
I feel like it was longer than that.
It felt like forever.
Yeah.
But we'd read like
3 chapters,
3 to 5 chapters a week, and so it didn't take super long, but there were definitely times where the pacing felt weird because of it. Because we would stop very rarely did we stop in a place where I'm like, why are we waiting? Like, I want to read this next chapter. Very rarely, instead of.
So you're saying when you would stop reading the chapter, you were like. Not interested to see what would happen?
If it wasn't for the book club, I would have put this book down.
Oh, you got bad taste, dude.
I don't care. But I'm talking about good stuff. But I just wanted to caveat that was how I read it might impact my feelings toward it. I thought it had really good world building. I thought that this was more of a almost alternate historical fiction. Like if things were slightly different, like you could definitely go like, okay, this is China. I'm pretty sure that's Japan. I'm pretty sure this is some Western Europe or Eastern European, maybe Western European country-esque. And so I thought she did that really good of weaving some insanely awful parts of history into her narrative that made it almost seamless. Almost. I mean, my wife isn't a huge history buff. She read this. She had no idea some of the stuff that was referencing. So maybe to some people it will be completely missed and they won't. Did I just go out?
No, you're good.
Okay. It might be completely creative, but there's a lot of it was almost pulled verbatim of accounts of what stuff has actually happened in China. So that would be mine.
Okay.
Do you want to go with? Let's go with another positive.
Another positive. So for me, this is a book where I started reading it, and like I want to say, like at the end of chapter 2, like I could not put it down. Like it was a real struggle between wanting to just power through it and lying to the book club and saying I didn't, and just setting it down. And so, like, you said like you would get to an end of a chapter and very rarely want to read the next one. Like I was like, it would keep me up at night, and I would think about it like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, it was so fast paced for me. Like, so the pacing worked for me for whatever reason. And it was, I really, really, really enjoyed it. Like the magic system was
Whoa,
cool.
whoa! You had one.
No,
Stop.
I'm just saying this is all featured into how good the pacing is. Like it's just it builds on like the same. Okay, so it reads like what is it? YA, but it definitely isn't.
Yeah,
but it reads that easily, and
it does read very easily, especially because when we started, I was reading Black Leopard, and that was always
so was I, and this was like a breath of fresh air, and it's one of the best books I've read in the last 10 years.
We're different. We're really different.
We already knew that though, because everything I like, you hate.
So my next positive would be because I wanted you to stop. I do like I like their magic system. It is a unique way of doing magic, of actually communing with higher beings and all of that jazz. And how you actually come in contact with them. Like that was a novel device that like I haven't seen. I haven't noticed that in other things, and it seemed pretty well fleshed out, and it gave you enough of a teaser to make you go like, nah, I kind of really want to know more of what's going on with this. So it didn't info dump you. It fed you little morsels that kept me going.
Okay.
Let's just go with your third pro.
So my third pro would be, so the main character is like, she's poor, people look down on her. So the whole thing that she is like obsessed about is getting power and becoming like prestigious. And so like throughout the story, she's the good guy, but every decision she makes is to like become more powerful, to be, again, to get wealth or like people to look up to her. And so there are moments where you're like, is she the good guy? And she may end up not being, but like she goes to really, really dark places to do whatever it takes to be this, powerful being. And I like that they, like most stories, the character gets to pick between good and evil, and they'll usually pick the good one unless you're reading grimdark. And so I really like that she did not shy away from doing whatever it took to just be this almost psychopath,
Mm-hmm. I got you. My last should read is, so I'm just about, like, in this next section going to leave a big old steamer on this.
Go for it.
But like in the next section, so that in of itself, like if I didn't have to read this book, I wouldn't have. Like after getting about halfway through it, it would have been a set down. I'm okay. The reason I wanted to read this book
I'm
is
so
because
disappointed in you.
I heard Dragon Republic was so good, and I was just like, okay, cool, let's do the first. Like if Dragon Republic's good, this must be at least all right. And I didn't feel that. But by the end of the book, I had enough of a pull that and throughout the book there was enough of a pull to be like, come on, just a little further, like a whole bunch of buildup that I thought was going to pay off, and in my opinion it didn't. But even in the end of the book, it got on Amazon and ordered Dragon Republic just because I am still interested in the magic system. I'm interested to kind of see where things go, but I'm definitely not nearly as high as when I opened that book up.
I had no expectations going in because, again, you picked this book for our book club,
I did.
and I'm so glad you picked it because I just loved it. But should we get into the negatives?
Let's go.
Even though your positives were negatives, but I would say I tried really hard in Black Leopard to come up with some positives. They weren't positives for me.
Okay. I do like her fights. She does a good job of describing things that are happening very well. She does.
Okay. All right.
So that's on the technical book.
So you want to do the first why somebody might not want to read it?
I would think that was all right. Because I would say I would love to, but that doesn't feel right because there was a lot of care and a lot of passion that was put into this, and I hate shitting on somebody.
Okay.
So it's just on, and all of our reviews are based on our opinions. It's literally nothing personal. Like And I don't want to discourage anybody from liking a book or enjoying a book. I don't that's not my, but this is my personal feelings on it. I feel like the
it's the wrong opinion, but it is your opinion. You're right.
I feel like the pacing for 2/3 of the book was like almost painful.
Like slow or
okay. Section 2, super slow. Nothing really happens. Really, not a lot. Section 3, pacing goes in the complete opposite direction, and we go bouncing around the fucking country every chapter to have 2 words with people and then move forward. Hey, let's just, it's literally like you collected all the quests in WoW and then you did them and now you're returning all the quests. It's kind of, that's how quickly it feels like that all happened.
Did we read the same book?
I don't know. All right, you go.
Because part 2 was definitely, they changed like the direction of where the book went, but it still felt fast paced to me. And then of course the third part was like put into overdrive. But why somebody might avoid if they like, there are some really, like, this book kind of shows the brutality of war. And it does it in such a way for me that does not feel grimdark, but it is some really dark things. Yeah.
Like it should go with Black Leopard in some parts.
Yeah. I went and read her AMA when she released this book, and she had said like she really wanted to point out like just the brutality of war and like the side effects from it and how it affects people. And so it makes sense, and I think she does it in a way that for me was like it really works. Like I didn't get turned off by it, and but yeah, it does get really dark.
Yeah, and that would be one of my disclaimers. Like that's not on my list of not to read this, but like it is there. There are parts that are pretty rough. Like it feels like a YA book with sprinkled in like fucking tragedy.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's awful. My number 2 would be through, and this is verbatim of what I've got written down. Through most of the book, I had literally no idea who, what, or why the conflict was. And furthermore, why do I give a shit about the main character or anybody else?
Oh my god.
Yep, that's how I felt. Like I towards the, after the first third, I loved the first third, by the way. Like the first third was a great, I felt like we're going somewhere. I felt like stuff was happening. I felt like characters were growing. And then literally in the middle of the second part of the book, I'm just like, who gives a shit about the main character? Who cares about who is the bad guy? Like you don't have to dole it out to me, but like, is it this other army? Because I don't give a shit about them.
They very clearly lay out who the bad guy is and who possibly is the bad guy. Like from like chapter, but like early on in the book, they set up some things.
You truly cared who the bad guy was, and you felt any connection to the world where you're like, oh, yes. Rin, hey, how about if everybody sucks all around you? You just go. Just fuck the people you're around. Like, screw them. They're not rad. This other army just wants to vanquish them. Like, let them have each other. I didn't give a shit. Like, I'm like, why do you care? You don't, like, you're showing everything in you of, like, I don't care. I never want to go back to my homeland. I don't give a shit.
Her homeland,
or the
foster parents.
The foster parents. Yeah.
Why would you want to go back there?
She has no connection to anything. Why does she give a shit about defending it with this fervor?
They literally talk about that in the book. No. She doesn't care about the place. She cares about getting power and being like this important person. Like that's what she's chasing after the whole time. And through her negative decisions she makes to get this goal, she looks back and thinks, oh, maybe these weren't the bad people that I thought they were. Oh, well.
Yeah. It was, so, yeah, that's my opinion.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because my number 2 of why somebody might not want to read it is if they are a racist, because only racists dislike this book.
You're stupid.
No, I really struggled to come up with dislikes because I literally liked it so much. That is my second answer is a joke answer.
Okay.
But also, Andrew is racist. Hashtag Andrew is racist. Get it trending. Let's do this.
No, not at all. My last dislike, and I've made this joke before. The characters, all of them, are the most one-dimensional character I've ever seen in a book. And I get the biggest fucking vibes of episode 2, Anakin Skywalker going on. I'm not going to tell about any of it, but like, do you know how one dimension character he is in that movie? Yeah, that's the
For the
book.
rest of this podcast, I'm just going to sit here in disgust of you.
That's like a fucking sand is coarse and that shit. Well, I was expecting
Sand
that.
is coarse.
Have you not seen that? Have you seen episode 2? He's like,
of the Star Wars?
Yeah, yes.
I've seen everything.
oh my god. Then obviously you didn't get the reference, you piece of shit. No, I mean like that's my honest feeling. Like, I don't care. None of the characters were anything more. What growth was there?
I can't even talk to you right now. Like, are you serious?
There's none.
Are you
None.
fucking serious, dude?
Oh my god. All right.
I don't have a third one.
Good.
You got a third one?
No, those were okay.
Yeah,
those
that's what
three
I
things
thought.
were basically my
So,
my
out
issue.
of 10, what would you give it?
5.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm giving this a 10 out of 10.
You're
A 10 out of 10.
It is-
Read the this is such a good book,
Oh.
and the only people that did not like it in our book club, not that other people matter, would be you.
I know. I was the only
I guess
one.
Hillary too.
Yeah, I was, and we're not going to count my wife. She doesn't count. I will say, yeah, I was the only one who didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. I did not, and it could be. It literally could be how it was. How I like to.
Most fun. Like I visualized everything so perfectly. I was so hooked in it, and like I didn't want to.
Dude, I'm just gonna get you more YA books so you can
Like,
fucking actually follow along.
What's wrong with YA books?
Nothing, but if that's the only thing you can enjoy.
Are you kidding me? Okay, so Andrew's gonna read The Three-Body Problem, and we'll see if he likes that.
Okay, I can do that.
Because that is one of my favorite series right now.
Okay. I mean, I have no problem with that.
It is sci-fi. It's not. I will say I am thankful that we started talking about books a while ago, because like I was so burnt out on fantasy that I only read sci-fi and like regular fiction,
Mm-hmm.
and this has got me back into the habit. Like, okay, fantasy's pretty dope.
Yeah, fantasy's
Like
tight.
it's a lot of fun. So and I never would have read this if we wouldn't have been. If you wouldn't have picked it, we wouldn't start talking about books and all that.
Yeah, no, and I will read the sequel. Like, I will end up reading it, and it'll be. I hope that she's 20 years old. She's young. She hasn't.
That's your opinion. First of all, shut your mouth.
I hope I get to enjoy it.
Okay.
With my increased age.
I really hope you do, because if you don't, like I've lost faith in you.
I mean, fucking lose faith. My mom lost faith in me years ago. So
it's a terrible book for Andrew, great book for me. Make up your own mind about it. Take it.
No.
take a little spin.
Okay, you gave fucking Black Leopard a 3.
I was being generous. like I said, worst book I've ever read.
This is definitely not the worst book I've ever read. I can't even think of offhand what the worst book I've. Maybe we need to do an episode of the worst books we've ever read.
Yeah, we could definitely do that.
But it's definitely not the worst book I've ever read. It's just not. Honestly, it was a bunch of unfulfilled promises. Like I had such high hopes in the beginning, and it was built up so much. That first section was so good in my how I was absorbing it, that I feel like I got fucking like free falled.
There's gonna be more books. They left enough stuff open, I feel like, for the sequels to play off.
Yeah, no, and maybe that's why I'm kind of disappointed. The last section felt kind of rushed and kind of I didn't get hardly any answers from the original first part of the book at the end. I felt, and I would have forgiven the second part being slow if the third part wasn't so fucking wonky for me. But
Interesting.
it happens.
All right. let's close it out.
So like and subscribe. Comment. Pay
us money.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that jazz.
Andrew's starting an OnlyFans.
I am.
God, I hope not.
I need money. Discord. Let's get this going, and we will see you back next week.
All right.
Bye. What did you push the wrong button?
I was trying to make it clap.
What?
I was trying to make it do applause.